Hey YouTube, I'm Kenneth Ryan.
I'm Linz Resop.
And we're back with another podcast episode of Fanfiction Friday. We are continuing to read Clockwork. We can be loud again, so that's cool. And we are continuing where we left off with chapter 32.
Luckily that last one, though, Green really didn't say much. It was pretty much his inner thoughts the entire time for him.
Yeah, which honestly...
And then he was gagged, so...
He was more than gagged. He was gagged and butt plugged. Anyways. Maybe in my sick fantasy.
In a different fic.
In my fanfiction of this fanfiction.
Yeah.
Alright, but we are continuing where we left off with chapter 32, and it starts with Claire. So that was me, with a really bad British, I think. Sorry, there's a hair on my... There we go. Alright, so we're just gonna pick up. Where in the fuck do you think you're going? Claire stood in front of her brother, her blue eyes fierce, and Lance was at a loss for words, running a hand through his thick, dark, auburn hair anxiously. Why wasn't his name Auburn? Silver sat with...
This is eye colors, usually.
Oh, true. So why isn't Claire named Blue 2.0? I was like, wait, we have a character named Blue. Silver sat with Faulkner and Morty. I fucked up anyways. Morty, there we go. Both had found some dry biscuits in the corner of the equipment room.
Does that mean cookies?
I think so, because it's British, right?
Yes.
You're just gonna trust equipment room food?
Apparently.
In the corner of the equipment room, and the fatigued athletes had sat amongst the rubble, having nothing else to do but sit desolately, nibbling crackers as they... Crackers and biscuits are different, aren't they?
Crackers are biscuit. No, crackers are... Crackers, I don't know.
As they listened to the dying victims, none of them having much appetite during the morbid...
Disquieting?
Thank you. Background ambience.
Ambiance.
Ah!
Yeah, there are people dying in the background. I'm just gonna eat these cookies. / crackers.
That's the fucking funniest visual. Just like the screams of dying...
We can reenact this scene.
The screams of dying children, and they're just like... Just slowly raising a... I forgot we don't have a camera today, so slowly raising the biscuits to their mouth and just take a small bite, and they're like... Then like a child screams "mommy" as we hear a gunshot.
Oh god. We should do this.
Oh my god.
That'd be kind of interesting.
That's so funny. It's morbid but hilarious. Okay, Whitney stopped watching the bloody show in favor of plugging her ears and rocking back and forth slowly in agony, her face a picture of grim pain. However they ate, they needed their strength, having lost blood or precious energy from fleeing and fighting beforehand. Oh shit, who the fuck was Whitney?
I don't know.
We'll make it you, because I was Claire.
I don't know, I'm gonna kill them!
Good.
Whitney muttered. I'm gonna kill them, Whitney muttered. Her voice thin from pain as a sick crack of a spine snapping sounded over the microphone. How do they know it's a spine? Oh my god! It's a spine snapping. Followed by Petral's insane laughter. I don't know how I laughed.
Oh god, this is so good.
Claire eyeballed her brother, who held up his hands in defense and took a step back.
Doesn't defense have an S?
Yeah.
Because that's like defense, as in like the picket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's asking Lance where he's going. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Claire followed, and Lance had the decency to look embarrassed. Where was he going?
Right?
They're trapped.
I don't know.
Gold, Cynthia, and Flint looked back from the small opening in the rubble. It was just big enough for them to all crawl through, except Lance, wouldn't fit just yet. So he's the biggest one, I guess. Calling him fat?
Watson and Wade and, like, Berg, I think, are all way fatter.
Are they in there?
They should be. They didn't get out.
Have they been described?
Oh, are they dead? I don't know.
Were they even characters in this?
I don't know, but they're the fat gym leaders.
Peering through, Gold saw the boots of several Rocket members guarding their prison. Why were people guarding them?
Yeah, right. They're
I thought
trapped.
people weren't guarding them.
Yeah.
Whatever. Gold sat back, and Cynthia took a look, her pale blonde eyebrows set in a frown, as she too realized they were trapped. Okay. Unless they could disable the grunts outside who no doubt were armed with something vicious.
That's not with, by the way. It's
with her.
There's an R in there.
Yeah.
I'm making fun of a typo. That's where I'm at right now. Also,
champion, so...
That's me. I love Cynthia.
So Cynthia and then Gold.
I claimed her at the beginning.
These two dialogues.
So I just want to talk about how her eyebrows were set in a frown, which, yes, is correct. But wouldn't you just say her lips? Wouldn't that make more sense? If you're describing a frown?
Or like her pale blonde eyebrows furrowed or something.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, shit. I don't remember her voice, though. I love her, but I don't remember her voice. Shit! Yeah, so, what do we do about that?
Wow, Gold, you're so...
Good job, Gold. You're
asking the real questions here.
Gold for president, 2K16. What are we gonna do about the
better than Trump, honestly.
Nuclear crisis in Iran? What are we gonna do? Gold asked the blonde Sinnoh champion, who grimaced with a small shrug of her delicate shoulders. Blood streaked across her chin. Badass. Mm-hmm. Flint, however, had other plans as he held up the explosive that blew upon human contact, which Ariana had dropped. He's touching
it.
Oh, God. He had noticed the little bomb a moment ago and realized it was activated by pressing on the little red button on the top.
Oh, yeah, so it wasn't
throwing
activated yet. Okay.
Oh, got it. Flint. Be Flint.
I feel like I was Flint, but I don't remember what his voice was. We start a fire.
Oh, wait. I did a hillbilly voice.
Oh, yeah, you can do him then. Yay.
Oh, okay.
Then
we start a fire.
Then Cynthia.
Okay, but time out, because half the stadium is already ablaze.
Yes,
still.
which is why Cynthia says.
Oh, right. No way! Not when there are so many people hurt already! Cynthia shot down the idea, but Flint didn't take any answer as a no.
What?
Pretty much willing to go through with whatever crazy plan he had concocted as he lay down, ready to press the button and chuck it through the hole they had stealthily excavated.
Excavated.
Oh yeah, that is how that's pronounced. I wanted to read it as... My brain was like, no, my brain was like, no, it's pronounced eviscerated. And I was like, that is not the word, and that means something entirely else.
Uh-huh.
Silently, as to not alert the guards, Cynthia tapped him on the leg, though, stalling. Is that going to stop him?
I guess.
Flint sat back up to look at the three gathered round him in a small huddle as they exchanged words in hushed voices.
Who is this?
Probably Cynthia.
Sure.
What are you planning to do? Flint shrugged. He looked back through the hole. I don't know. I just want a distraction for those goddamn bastards to move, and fire sounds like the easiest way to do it. Gold, once I chuck this flaming ball of death at those grunts, I need you...
Flaming ball of death.
I need you to slip through and take the survivors out. I doubt this will kill them all. Gold had gone pale at the idea that real lives were at stake.
Wait, you've killed people already.
No, he broke their noses to disable them, but not kill them. And we discussed how if he hit the nose just right, it would send the bone through the brain, which would kill them.
Yeah. And that hitting them in the temple and head and stuff is actually the worst thing they could probably do.
Mm-hmm, that's
trying
deadly.
To disable them.
That's deadly.
Yeah.
We did talk about this. Also, a reminder, about 40,000 people are already dead. Women and children...
Lives are at stake.
They've always been at stake.
I think you should have realized this.
I mean, shock is a hell of a drug, but I think they've all sobered up at this point to realize they're in danger. Mm-hmm. Okay, lives were at stake, and that they were now aiming to potentially take lives themselves. I'm also pretty sure that they've already done that to an extent, I thought. Silver furrowed his brows, recalling Gold's fear of fire, and by the looks of it, everything would be on fire outside. It already is.
On fire.
Gold shook his head, visualizing the many ways in which he would possibly fail in his fear and get shot or something. He wasn't some fucking stunt artist.
What is stunt artist? Stunt artists don't kill people.
Yeah, stunt artists fake it. That's all fake.
Ow, my knuckle.
That is the purpose of their profession, is they throw punches, but they never hit one another.
Yeah.
Never, ever. That's why they get paid big bucks to do action sequences. Cynthia looked at him worried, and Gold turned away, not ready to expose his one and only weakness.
His only weakness.
That's a lie. That is the results... I am Maury right now, and the results are back, and that was a lie. Cynthia's
what's Horton's here's a bitch-ass liar?
Yes! We should read that one on the show, honestly.
I forget what it was.
Lindsay! That was such a good
It's a great line, but... It was probably like a Shadowhunters.
I was gonna make a terrible, terrible joke and reference the Maury episode we watched 4 years ago, probably, with the lady in the wheelchair chasing around like, I told you so. That's gonna be Cynthia soon.
Yeah.
Why can't Cynthia or Lancer you do it? Because you're the fastest and strongest. Cynthia, no offense, babe, but you can't handle that much cock. In reference to what?
I don't know.
Can you please look up what cock means in British slang? Because I don't get it. Is it a sex joke? Are they making a Shakespearean sex joke? I need to know. This is important.
British slang.
Vulgar slang, a man's penis.
That's a lot of cock.
What does this mean? What does this mean?
A male lobster crabber. A firing lever in a gun which can be raised. I don't know.
I don't get it. You can't handle that much cock. Lance is too big and I can't cause, well, my hair, my beautiful luscious afro, I wouldn't make it in time before they spotted me. Fuck you. That's a wig, I'm pretty sure we established. Just take it off.
It's a wig?
I thought so. I don't know. Gold swallowed, looking at the hole, and shook his head vigorously, his expression one of set determination that read, There's no fucking way I'm going through that when everything on the other side is on fire.
That's a very clear expression.
That is a very, like, I want to see a drawing of that expression. Hey, if anybody that watches this is an artist, draw that expression for us.
That'd be, like, really convenient, because there's, like, 5 of them.
I would love it. And I would probably, you know what, I would probably start using it for the thumbnails, because that'd be funny. Silver crouched down beside him to peer quietly through the hole before realizing Gold wouldn't have to slide through it as originally planned, but instead could just walk through the hole made by the explosion from the bomb.
How do you know? It might collapse everything.
Well, Silver.
You can do it.
No, I can't, Gold whispered. Fire was his ultimate Achilles heel. The stadium has been on fire and you ran through that to protect Silver, so just throw Silver through the hole and then you'll be like, oh shoot, he's in danger. Then you'll become the Hulk.
I mean, it'd work, yeah.
Fire was his ultimate Achilles heel. As he backed away from the wall of rubble, his face and eyebrows set into a mask of apprehension. Silver tried a different approach. If gentle wasn't really working, he would be stern, sending Gold an appraising look. He really well and truly thought that Gold could do this. It was a little bit unnerving to think if Gold wasn't willing, then no one would be. He growled.
Gold, don't be an idiot. You can.
No, I can't! It's fire! It's... Ugh! I just can't walk into some fire.
Gold, it's just a psychological thing, remember?
PTSD is like a serious thing that he'll have it his entire life. He can't help it.
I mean, Flint would honestly be really terrible. They'd see him coming from a mile away.
I know, but
Anyways. Yeah, you can't, it's a psychological thing. Just push through it, you'll be fine.
My depression is cured. Oh my god, I hate this. No, I don't think I can do it. I can't.
Gold!
No! Silver pushed Gold up against the wall. Are they gonna make out? I hope so. Silver pushed Gold up against the wall of rubble, sneering at the tawny-eyed male, finally pissed off. Where was the fire, confidence, and guts from before? Gone. You mean where had it gone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where had all that fight and anger gone? Where was Gold's pride? Gold, still pale at the initial thought of sliding through a burning hole, stared at Silver, his eyes wide with surprise. His lips, however, curled into a snarl, though, as Silver made as if to hit him, defending himself.
Where's that fucking anger? You've done it no questions beforehand. No questions asked? You've dealt with fire before. You've goddamn survived it before. I thought you were ready to do this. Come on, don't be a pussy.
I'll be a pussy where I want and when I want. I love that line. That's gonna be my first tattoo.
Pussy is short for pusillanimous, which means coward.
I'll be a pussy where I want and when I want. That should have been my yearbook quote.
I'll be a pussy where I want and when I want.
That's a good one-liner. I'll give it. I'll give credit where credit is due. I love it. Came the petulant answer. I almost said prudent. And Silver took in a long, suffering breath as he pinched Gold hard, causing the tawny-eyed male to growl and try throwing him off. Silver clung to him, though, seething the next sentence through his teeth, praying he could piss Gold off soon. He had to do this because then Gold would, once baited, rise to the challenge to prove that he could do it. This is toxic masculinity at its finest.
Yeah.
Just to salvage his wounded pride, or even better, patch it up, his tail between his legs once he realized his wrongs. Okay.
I thought you were better than this. Gold shoved Silver off, pinning the redhead easily with a low snarl of rage.
They're gonna make out.
Yes. Silver let a dry, bleak smile cross his face, thinking it was far too easy to rile his lover up. It was as if Gold would just fall for that time and time again. Now that dormant anger was burning freely again. Silver pulled Gold down into a kiss, mainly to show him he hadn't meant it and that he was sorry. However, he used it to his advantage, relaying a message he otherwise couldn't say as it was too long. His hands tearing at Gold's hair. It was a harsh kiss, one full of hatred, love, want, and fury, and it tasted like the best kiss they had shared to date. It was a poisonous kiss. Whilst it was angry, it was passionate, and Gold reached up, oblivious of his hair being pulled out at the roots, ow, to cup Silver's face, the other hand buried in the glorious, sleek spill of Silver's dark, foxy red hair, pulling at it as well, tugging at it painfully. Silver let out a muffled moan as Gold dominated the kiss, because Gold is the man, his tongue pressing down and sliding alongside his. At least their tongues aren't fighting for dominance. Silver clutched at Gold desperately, hoping he would be safe on this rescue mission.
Out. You first, because you.
I was kind of thinking about what I was thinking about the other day. Like in fan fiction, when there's two male characters, you can always tell which one is going to be like the woman. That's sexist, but like.
But it's true.
In the relationship based on how they kiss, because like if one person puts their hands on the one's waist and the other one like puts their arms around their neck or something, the one with their arms around the neck is the girl in the fanfic, pretty much.
Silver has been the girl since day one.
Yeah, it's annoying.
This relationship is a homosexual relationship, but it's so heteronormative in that sense, where it's like one has to be feminine and one has to be masculine.
Yeah.
I like Green and Red's relationship more because they're both kind of masculine. They're both kind of weird, but they're both sort of more masculine.
Yeah.
And they're both just like not ashamed of that, whereas like Silver is the most stereotypically feminine character.
Pretty much.
But like his looks, his attitude, well maybe not his attitude, but like sort of low-key how he carries himself.
He's like, I'm embarrassed.
Annoying.
I ran across the stadium and should come make out with you, but then actually telling you that I like you was embarrassing or whatever earlier. And then they had sex.
Also, this kiss, I also hate the trope where it's like, we're fighting, so now we kiss. I hate that so much. It's like, talk it out. Continue.
Unhealthy. Breaking the kiss, their lips cherry red and bruised. Bruising, okay, I guess it's fine, but...
This is an aggressive kiss if they're bruised.
Yeah. Gold looked down at the scarred teen, licking his lips. He's scarred.
We need to get...
You're all scarred at this point. That could refer
We need
to
a camera because I have been making some good faces that the audience is missing.
Yeah,
Next time.
Fun. His golden eyes burning intensely with desire, Gold quickly turned away, roughly growling at Flint to activate the bomb. Silver looked up at Gold and realized with a jolt. I love you, Gold. You realize this now. You didn't realize this earlier. Gold paused, his expression softening. Your face. His mouth opening slightly. Silver knew this was that moment he had been waiting for, where all he had ever wanted to say to Gold came out like that.
I love you.
I know. No, you should. Don't be like Han Solo.
Leia does it back to him in Return of the Jedi, so...
I know she does.
Spoiler alert. Sorry, continue.
Like, he knew it before, but he didn't know how to say it. And there it was. Pure, simple. And Silver finally understood why he hadn't said it before. It was under this kind of pressure that he realized he truly loved Gold. You need 40,000 people to die. Everything on fire. He's about to, like, go into a potential suicide mission.
Oh my god.
I finally can tell you that I love you, because I need this kind of pressure to be able to tell you.
Oh, that's amazing.
He loved Gold. Very much so, and Silver hated to see him go. You made him do this. Heart thundering in his chest and ears, Silver reluctantly let him go, hands shaking slightly as he did so.
You're gonna be able to hear the people having a jolly time outside our recording space.
Uh-huh. Gold looked torn now, and Silver couldn't let that happen. Lance, having finally shaken his protective sister off, turned to look at the two of them, and Flint pressed the button, looking at the small red light beeping.
Gold, now! I love you too, Silver.
I love you, Silver whispered, broken, his voice thick with emotion. Gold was leaving him now, and he might never come back. And with a choked cry, Gold, as he realized this too, pulled away from the redhead, their eyes lingering on each other for a split heartbeat. A split heartbeat.
That's real fast, because heartbeats are pretty...
It's like a split second or a heartbeat. A split heartbeat. So is it half
like
a heartbeat?
So like if you do a heartbeat, it's like da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. It'd be like duh. And that's it. Okay. I was like, I'm done.
Heartbeat. Silver thinking Gold looked like an incredible, dangerous, and exotic, rare, caged animal. What?
That's a weird descriptor.
Is he a hawk or an eagle?
It's a weird descriptor.
Yeah. The way his eyes narrowed and yet said so much, revealing his heart to him. His soul. Caged animals revealed their heart and soul to you, apparently.
I thought caged animals just looked pissed off half the time.
Yeah. Amber sunlight clashing and meeting silver moonshine. Are you describing them yourselves?
I'm confused.
Are you sun and moon?
Hey, Pokemon Sun and Moon, coming out soon.
Yeah. Silver could see all the things Gold wanted to say. How much he loved him. How much he didn't want to go, but he knew he had to. How he wanted to apologize for stupidity, and if something happened to him, that Silver promised he would move on. Silver curled his hands into fists. Don't you dare leave me behind, he hissed, blinking back furious tears, hating that it had come to this, hating that no one else was braver to take Gold's place. It's just that no one else could do it. They just
Other people totally could just do it.
Yeah, true.
Like, you just are forcing Gold into this situation.
You're like, they're just like, there's like 4 of them around this hole, and the other ones are on the other side of the room, not knowing what's going on.
Eating biscuits.
And they haven't asked any of them if they would do it.
They're just there for filler.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Take Gold's place. Hating that Gold is so bloody selfless and valiant as usual. You made him angry so that it would.
You literally used toxic masculinity to your advantage, is what you did.
And valiant as usual, and he loved how he was all that and so much more. Silver let out a quiet, dry sob. A dry sob. But he's blinking back tears, so it's not dry, but whatever. Not wanting to look in case he pulled him back. Gold gave him a crooked smirk. How you're not looking at him, so how do you know? As he promised to Silver, who only just caught the cheeky look.
Welcome to 80s movie references 101. I can't sound like Arnold, so I'll just do it in Gold's voice. I'll be back. Now! Flint cried out and...
arm gesture.
It's how I get into character. And... Shut up. Flint cried out and rolled the spherical explosive sharply, causing it to smack into a grunt's leg where it stuck, beeping frantically before the explosion.
How did he know he was going to hit a person?
Blasting rock and rubble everywhere. A couple of the wounded in the equipment room flinching and curling up. Gold, who had braced himself behind a large metal framework of shelves, took a deep breath and steeled himself at the hall. Excuse me, I burped. Steeled himself at the hallway. I'm gonna burp again, probably. Several areas burned and others didn't, and he stared at
some things are on fire, and the things that aren't on fire aren't on fire.
That was like me at work yesterday. I was talking to Ryan, and I was just like, we have a timed order for 9 o'clock, but that won't drop until 9 o'clock. And he looked at me and was just like, Yeah. And I'm just like, shut up. Leave me alone. Stared at the small flames, lapped at the entrance of the wall of debris. He slipped through it quickly, his trousers slightly singed as he emerged the other side. As he stood, much to the surviving grunt's surprise, the sound of bodies hitting the floor as Gold viciously took them out, easily dropping them to the ground like fruit flies being swatted. The tussle lasted...
Fruit flies are impossible to kill, first
True,
of all.
I've never killed one, and I have tried. The tussle lasted a couple of mere minutes before Gold called Flint, Lance, and Cynthia through. Once the four were through, the majority of the fire had died out and the rubble lay burning, charred in the hallway. Silver and Volkner, along with Claire, peered through the gaping hole in the wall at them.
Why are they waiting?
Yeah, why? It's Volkner, by the way. He's the blonde.
Volkner?
He was the weird Russian
Be
Spanish.
safe. We'll be waiting for your return. That was not how it was, but I don't really care. Flint gave the blonde the thumbs up, and after... Is Volkner the blonde?
Yes.
Or is, like, Riley blonde?
Riley's blue.
Oh.
Cynthia's a
Thought
blonde too,
Faulkner
but
was
she's
blue.
out, so...
Flint gave the blonde the thumbs up, and after a heated discussion, the rescue team left. Flint at the front, with Cynthia and Gold in the middle, with Lance as the strongest, bringing up the rear.
I thought Gold was the strongest being on this earth. A weapon more powerful than Metal Gear. That's a reference that I don't think you get.
Metal Gear Solid, probably, or something, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's a reference to a video.
Okay. Volkner turned to Silver with a blank, dead look on his face now that Flint had left. My foot is asleep. Silver partially felt some of his pain, feeling an aching, hollow void opening in his chest as Gold went farther and farther away from him.
Oh!
Is this Volkner again?
I think it's Volkner.
They're not going to come back. The idiots. Silver looked away, swallowing the lump in his throat. Gold knew how he felt now. He knew earlier. He knew. Trust me. Gold had to come back, and Faulkner came up to Volkner, looking pissed. Silver tried to look at something else, pretending to find the deflated footballs nearby very interesting indeed. Very interesting indeed. As Faulkner once again fought another battle for him. Silver, however, had a feeling, a sharp, horrible pain in his chest that told him they weren't going to make it.
Gold will make it. He's a main character. He has plot armor. But the other three, they're fucked.
Yeah. This is Faulkner.
Melkovic Gaming Game Show. Hey, fuck you.
I'm merely stating the truth, young Faulkner of Johto.
So, Silver knew it already, so you don't have to rub it in.
Silver knew it already. They're walking into a suicide. Why did they?
Because we can't just sit around and do nothing. Faulkner hissed, and Silver had the image of a very pissed off cat, with its ears fully back as the navy-haired male glowered at Faulkner, who looked away, beaten. There wasn't a great compelling argument there.
Yeah, not really.
Silver sat down, heavily burying his face in his hands. It hurt so much more to know that they weren't coming back, but he would hope. He felt a light touch on his shoulder and saw Morty, still bloody, but strangely enough happy, was patting him on the shoulder, his flyaway blonde hair sticking slightly to his face from blood and sweat and his eyes worn from pain. Oh, Rick, I don't know, Rick. I don't know if I can do it. You gotta do it, Morty. Shoot, so Morty's the kid, so I have to sound okay.
Except you were doing, like, the other one for him.
I know. Oh, they will do their very best. They have Lance and Cynthia.
Yeah, but they have millions of them. And guns.
Shock
Silver
is a hell of a drug.
Silver whispered. Morty... He acts like this anyways.
True.
Morty chuckled, a lilting sound that reminded him of a small bird trying its best to sing quietly, but failing as it wanted to sing loudly. What kind of sound is that?
I've never heard that sound in my life.
No bird tries to sing quietly, first of all.
Anyways, continue.
Oh,
sorry, I'm making noises.
Blah, blah, blah. Morty hummed, brushing his fingers through Silver's naughty... Why is he touching him? Naughty, dark, foxy red hair, untangling the snarls and the twists carefully with gentle hands. Silver did not flinch away, and instead let the foreign hands groom him. He trusted Morty. You've known him for like a day.
Yeah. So who said millions can bring down a true fighter? You don't have to win to actually be the winners.
What?
Another good yearbook quote.
You don't have to win.
Morty said in his strange, soft, muffled voice. Silver liked Morty's voice. It was a soft, muted tone that was a perfect audible volume. Faulkner was arguing with Volkner now that the blonde man had recovered from his momentary phase of depression. It's just a phase, Mom. The violet-eyed gymnast spared the bickering two a glance before smiling tenderly and kindly at Silver as he finished combing his fingers through the ends of the long red hair.
That was quick.
Even if something goes terribly wrong, do you think you could live easily with the good memories?
And of course you mean the bad ones, too. Gold and I, we never got along at the start.
Yeah, even if they're bad, cherish them because you love them, no? Silver said nothing, and Morty repeated the last part of his previous statement, and Silver
Cherish them
nodded.
because you love them, no? He repeats that.
Weird. The violet-eyed man blinked and smiled serenely.
Serenely. Yes, I love him. I love him so much it hurts, and I want him to come back.
Then he will. Morty, that's getting kind of oaky. Morty said simply, his violet eyes droopy and dopey as ever, a tranquil smile on his face. Silver had to it, Morty did give off an incredibly soothing aura. It was peaceful, and the redhead believed him. Morty held out a tissue. Don't cry. Silver took it and pocketed it, not really needing it. Having made his mind up, stood and addressed the athletes once more. He wasn't going to let those 4 and green go without some kind of backup.
So we're gonna follow.
They needed more than 4 people. They needed everyone, all the people they could get. Thank you, that's what everyone means. Steeling himself, Silver waited till everyone in the room realized he wanted to speak. Did he just, hold his hand up? Oh my god. Excuse me? Excuse me. Waiter? Waiter, I need to speak.
I'll wait.
Oh my god, yeah, crossed it. I'll wait. I do that to you guys sometimes, truthfully. Because I'm an asshole. It was nerve-wracking, and Silver knew he probably would never get over his stage fright. Swallowing his initial fear and began again, his voice unwavering and determined. He pressed on. He could do this.
Never started
he had
talking.
to do it.
We need to fight back.
Wow! Good.
Silver couldn't take the screams of the dying anymore. Mainly because he knew he would stop thinking rationally once he heard Gold's voice screaming in pain when it was his turn. As he was met with various levels of, "You must be joking. We can't let them do this alone."
Page break. Flint peered round a corner,
so
a small mirror in his hands, to look round the blind spot as Gold slowly choked a grunt into unconsciousness, his eyebrows drawn into a severe scowl as his hawk gold eyes blazing furiously. Cynthia watching the back of the group, her lips in a tight line. One sentence. I'm going to ignore the fact that he choked a grunt into unconsciousness, by the way. After noting that the coast was clear, Flint guided them quickly to another little nook in the walls in which they could hide. Flint checked his pockets for the key and cursed, rooting round, trying to find it. Gold tried to quieten. That's not right. Quiet is proper. Mm-hmm. His racing heart, just knowing they were going to be found out because he had been the frightened little kid who had given them away. However, the way in which Cynthia's nostrils were flared and how her pupils had dilated told him she was frightened too. Of getting caught or killed, he didn't know. Probably both.
Because if you get caught, you're gonna get killed.
It was probably both, to be honest. Correct. It was just one of those unfortunate moments in which you could end up contemplating either option and being unsure as to which you would prefer. Gold, upon reflection of that specific idea, didn't really know if he would choose death over capture, settling for finding out instead, and making the split-second decision later. Gold crammed in after Flint and the blonde Sinnoh champion into their little hidey hole. You are Lance.
I don't know what Lance was.
Just a voice. But you're Lance.
Oh, God, we should catch one and make him tell us where they're keeping Green. Lance suggested thickly, his nose slightly bloodied from where he'd been punched in the face as he squashed into the uncomfortably tiny space. Cynthia pursed her lips and thought,
What happens if they don't know? Knock 'em out? Ooh, that was like Australian.
Yeah, a little.
Flint said, a little bit distracted as he fumbled with his master key to open the door, which would lead them through to a storeroom to the other side of the stadium. Isn't the other side on fire? Cynthia quickly told them to shut up as they crouched low in the semi-gloom of their hiding place as two rocket grunts walked past robotically. Both the Sinnoh champion and Gold had to restrain Lance to prevent him from being hasty, finally unlocking the door as Flint opened it wide to reveal the storeroom. Sliding in, he shut the door, taking in their bearings. So we need a plan of action, one that doesn't involve us splitting up, because that's the last thing we want to do.
Let's capture one of them and make him talk, Lance suggested again, and Flint nodded, seeming to like the idea, a lot now that he had time to think about it. After checking the coast was clear, Cynthia stole out with Gold, Lance only in the shadows if things got a bit too messy. The two waited, barely daring to breathe, as a duo strolled along. As they passed, Cynthia, waiting with some rope they had found in the storeroom, nodded, and Gold pounced, hooking his arms round their necks and pinning them down. Lance emerging to deal heavy punishing blows to their temples, knocking them out effectively, as Cynthia bound them tightly together before dragging them into the storeroom where Flint, tearing up another part of his trousers, gagged the duo.
Question. Do they really have time to wait for them to return to consciousness?
Yeah.
Now what? Gold asked, looked down at their two captives, unsure of what they needed to do. He didn't want to hurt them any more than he needed to, but if push came to shove, he would. He wouldn't let anything get in the way of his goal of rescuing Green. Lance knelt beside the unconscious pair and slapped them awake, both sent into a frenzy as they tried to get free. Lance raised a fist threateningly, seeming to have no qualms against using force to get what he wanted, and the two stopped, eyes wide. Lance, I think, says this. 'Cause he's the threatening one.
Where are you keeping your hostages? Cynthia tore off one of the gags from the slightly larger grunt, silencing him with a quick, swift jab into his diaphragm. Stuttering and wheezing, the man could do nothing but try to breathe. So ask him a question, then make him unable to answer the question.
That's dumb.
Cynthia made as if to repeat the action. It was a nasty technique, which made the victim feel as if they couldn't breathe properly for a few minutes. Why do you want to disable him for a few minutes?
You don't have time.
Speed is of the essence. It was a bit frightening when it was performed correctly. Well, yeah. The blonde woman repeated her question fiercely. Oh, so it was her.
Oh. Whatever.
The grunt shook his head frantically, his eyes wide in alarm, and Cynthia, in disgust, jabbed him again and reaffixed the gag. The second grunt looked dumbly at them, as if he had no idea Team Rocket had taken hostages. Flint sighed.
Oh, it can't be helped. Let's just leave them there. They obviously don't know their executive's greater plans. Agreeing with the fire engine red afro-haired man.
Fire engine red afro-haired man.
Agreeing with Flint, the rescue team made their way through the dim storeroom to the other side. Opening the door, Flint peered round it carefully. Gold had a very bad feeling about this area, but said nothing. It wasn't like he had some creepy precognition or anything. Is this them foreshadowing for us? It must be.
I don't know.
Lance snuffled his bloody nose uncomfortably, the blood now dry and browning and flaking, making it itchy, but the Junto champion knew not to touch it. Lance. I'll just say it's Lance.
We need to try getting upstairs. I have a feeling we'll have more luck there. Creeping out one by one, Gold bringing up the rear. Gold could feel the hairs on the back of his neck prickling. He felt as if they were being watched. Unable to take it any longer, and whipping about, he was met with the muzzle of a gun. Sweat beading on his forehead, Gold slowly called out to the others. They glanced back, and Flint swore loudly. How do they know exactly where they were?
Gotcha! You really thought we weren't watching you lot snooping about on camera? Think again. It's the gay grunt. Gold took a step back, trying his best not to fight as he was chained up, lest he get a bullet to the face. I guess he decided capture was better than death.
Mm-hmm.
As he struggled more violently, he let out a sharp hiss as he was whacked over the head by something hard. Sinking into darkness, Gold wondered if he and the others were going to survive.
What is with all these head shots?
But first, they needed to get out of this mess and disable the cameras. Page break.
Gold grunted, blinking himself awake as he landed on his side in the commentator's box. Sitting up, he saw Lance getting dragged in from where he had been knocked out. Cynthia scratching and biting like a wildcat as she was yanked in forcefully. Why didn't they knock her out?
Yeah,
Sexism.
Why didn't they tie her up?
Yeah. She was yanked in forcefully, struggling, the grunts roughly manhandling her, touching her all over, much to her and his disgust, sexually abusing her.
Yikes.
Uh-huh.
Sexism.
Flint, also out cold, was carried in and thrown at their feet. Green, who stirred, noticing the new prisoners, sat up, his chains clinking. He immediately nudged Gold, who snapped his head over, his expression fierce before melting into joy.
Green! Thank God! Oh my God! Red, we thought you were dead! Green shook his head, his long brown hair flying with the motion, framing his handsome face. He looked so different with his hair like that. Gold couldn't stop from smiling, despite being overwhelmed by the stronger forces of Team Rocket, who had those massive guns. They had no choice but to surrender. He was so happy. You know a small gun can kill you just as quick as a big gun.
Mm.
He was so happy upon finding out Green was all right. Green sniffed haughtily, as if offended that Gold had ever thought of such a ludicrous idea. Him? Dead? Whatever strange things would they have concocted next?
Of course I'm not dead. I'm a hostage, being held for ransom money.
Usually what hostages are held for.
Not always.
Usually, though. I said usually, I never said always.
Green said loftily, articulate as ever, his expression betraying no signs of mistreatment so far. That's a lie.
Isn't White's dead body still on the floor?
Probably, yeah. And Gold was relieved that his psychologist was fairly unscathed, but he had a feeling that was going to change sometime soon. I thought you didn't have precognition. And Gold felt that soon would be soon. Sooner than either of them would be anticipating. Thus, the tawny-eyed male decided he would be prepared for anything.
That's so deep.
Fuck.
He had a feeling that was going to change soon, and Gold felt that soon would be soon. It's so deep.
Sooner than they think.
Oh my God.
Fuck, Lance swore as he woke, and Cynthia sat subdued somewhat, her clothes torn, giving her no coverage whatsoever. Okay.
Yikes, so they're seeing
her clothes
booby
torn
and vagina.
off. She ignored it, and held her head high and proud, her sharp blue eyes daring the leering grunts to come near her, having bitten and kicked the one that lay nearest to her into submission. Flint was still out cold, having taken the heaviest blow out of them all.
You don't know that because you were knocked out first.
Yes. Footsteps and a man with neat cropped hair and another with styled hair and a clever smirk stepped through. Both gave off very domineering presences. Gold knew just by how they walked and the looks on their faces. They were practiced killers, cruel and heartless. Their eyes beheld a type of patronizing, merciless mocking light. A type of patronizing, merciless, mocking light. And the hawk-eyed male didn't want to lose to them. They wouldn't have many problems snuffing them all out right here and now. Gold, however, did not break or tear his eyes from them, feeling that if he submitted now, either way, he would never give Silver away. What? Ever.
Greetings. The man with cropped sky-blue hair said pleasantly, his severely arched eyebrows high on his forehead as he looked down upon them all. Gold bared his teeth at him, and Lance was wary, his dark red brows drawn in a stern scowl. Cynthia spat quietly, like a furious she-lion. Give me 1 second. I'm Google searching.
What? What Archer looks like?
Yes. Oh, spoiler. That's what he's going to say. Oh, okay.
He has really slanted eyebrows.
I am Archer. I am the leader of this Neo Team Rocket. This is my second, Proton, as you can probably deduce from his charming name, is our lead scientist. It's a real pleasure to meet you all. Ah, Mr. Oak, it is fascinating to finally meet you in the flesh. I've heard all about you. I heard you were very close to a man named Red Pallet. You are also a psychologist, no? And you live in a tiny apartment which well and beyond doubt cannot house more than 4 of you? Green stared.
What?
How the fuck? How did he know about Red and his flat? Archer turned to Gold and smirked down at him. And you must be Mr. Hunter. Yes, you're the one with the terrible, uncontrollable anger, whose family died in a massive fire and immigrated illegally to Kanto. The renowned Phoenix boy who rose from those ashes. Indeed. Then I look forward to testing that fury sometime soon today. You can be a valuable recruit to us, and you don't have to have a depressing little...
Don't you have a depressing
little red-haired friend? Don't you know anything about him? Silver Giovanni, that is. Don't you love him? Gold almost stopped breathing. They knew everything. I can see your surprise. Well, no matter. We have eyes around. We like to know what we're dealing with, so we can aptly prepare for it.
Why couldn't you just taken Silver off the streets?
I dislike being disorganized, you see. Proton stepped forwards as Archer turned away momentarily to look over at the sulking Ariana. Proton draped a blanket round Cynthia, who watched him warily. He smiled enchantedly down at her as she grimaced.
So he's creepy with dudes, but polite to women.
He's so gay!
Yeah.
That is such a stereotype.
Yeah.
Anyways, unsure what to think of the kind act of covering her mostly naked body up, Gold snarled as the teal-haired scientist ran his hands over his face, pinching his nose gently. Please don't, I'm sick.
Your face feels weird.
It's freshly shaved. Well, but some of the hair is starting to grow back, so it's a little prickly. Smooth-gloved fingers running over his lips and sliding them into his mouth. Gold can just bite your fingers. The other slipping up his shirt to run over his flinching chest. Gagging slightly, Gold tried to pull away from the fingers, abusing his mouth. Just bite down!
Well, they're not in his teeth, they're just in his lips. Inside.
Abusing his mouth as they flicked and curled almost sensually over his tongue.
Okay, they're in his...
Bite down your teeth! That's the first thing I would do. He was prevented from doing so from the strong, firm hand on the back of his head that stopped him from both pulling away and biting down. How's the hand stopping you from pulling away and biting down?
Because your lower jaw would come up.
Yeah. On the invading fingers, pulling his head back by his hair, Gold made no sound. Proton seemed satisfied when he pulled his soaked fingers out from Gold's mouth in amusement.
Ew.
Gold coughed slightly, glowering hatefully, saliva staining his lips and chin. Gross. He couldn't wipe it away as his hands were changed behind his back.
I need to use...
Get your cup.
I'm using a pumpkin this time. It's a Halloween thingy.
You have beautiful golden eyes,
Proton murmured, wiping his hand on the proffered tissue handed to him by a grunt. So the grunt is just so used to this. He's like, okay, here's a tissue.
Have an issue? Here's a tissue. Da 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 da.
He knelt down to inspect Gold's amber honey eyes closely, and Gold stared back unfeelingly, allowing him to look all he wanted, mentally making a note that the last thing Proton saw when he died was his own blazing golden eyes, coldly staring down at him, making him fear. Making him fear.
Me too.
Yeah. Gold wanted to kill Proton and make him suffer, just because he stuck his fingers in your mouth and said, you have pretty eyes?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like assault, yes.
It is assault.
But I want to murder you. I mean, yeah, he's murdered all these people, but still. He sat quietly as those horrible hands slid all over his body, feeling him up. Everything. And Green watched on in muted, disturbed silence, still gagged.
Can I keep him, Archer?
Proton asked, the rocket leader, who gave a dramatic sigh.
No.
Why not? He's so beautiful.
Gold strained at his bonds. He would show how fucking beautiful he could be. Snarling, he snapped, biting at the fingers that came to caress the side of his face. He then found himself with the muzzle of a gun placed at his lips. Gold stopped, going cold with shock at the unforgiving metal weapon shoved in his mouth.
You're such a bad boy. We're lucky we haven't killed you both yet. We were going to, until we were told not to.
Proton said, smiling eerily, licking his lips as he clicked the gun in a warning. The scientist looked up at Archer, who raised his eyebrows. Proton mimed begging the man, his hands held in front of him imploringly as he took the gun out of Gold's mouth.
Please, may I keep one?
No. You may play with them once our interrogator arrives.
When would that be, Archer?
Now. Archer turned as the door opened, smiling, and Green and Gold looked up, their blood freezing to ice, never to run again, spiking and impaling them both through the heart as the icicles tore through their beings as Agatha!
We were just talking yesterday about how she wasn't here.
We were literally just talking about how Agatha
how she was
showed
left
up.
in the...
Oh my god! Stepped through the door, cane and all, her hag-like overall appearance being the single most appalling thing they had experienced that day. By the way, if this was a TV show, because this is a spoiler, the
Dun,
actress,
dun, dun.
the actress playing Agatha would be credited as the first actress in like it would fade to black and be like special guest star actress playing her. That's how they always do it. TV's been doing that for years. Sorry, fun fact.
Okay.
Appalling thing they had experienced that day, so alarming it was beyond atrocious, and Gold couldn't breathe. So this was how Team Rocket knew about them. She admitted to Silver she liked Team Rocket. He should have went to the authorities and been like, this bitch is involved. And this is why they weren't dead yet. Agatha had observed them before and marked them on her list. She wanted to kill them slowly, tormenting them until their very last breath. Green clammed up, going white as a sheet, his eyes
How could he
wide,
clam up? He's gold and gagged and not saying anything.
staring at his boss effectively, as he had been
Effectively, he had been working.
working for a Team Rocket executive. All was
Well, not
strangely
doing
quiet
anything for
inside
Team
the arena
Rocket.
as Petrel declared a half-hour break. Cynthia and Lance just knew that the bodies piled up from the stadium were beyond believing. The stands were thousands sat still, subdued, frightened, praying to God for mercy as they watched the gory spectacle of a sport named murder. Streetcar named Desire.
Why don't you fight back?
Gold, voiceless, his breathing stunted and rapid.
You didn't read that line.
Knowing sometime today they would be next. Gold, voiceless, his breathing stunted and rapid, shallow and full of disgust, and Cynthia watched the two males, putting two and two together, also mute with distress, as the old evil hag advanced her cane, making a distant clicking noise on the tiled floor of the commentator's box. Gold found his voice, and it was venomous, dripping in dark murder and coated in barbs. You! Agatha dipped her head and bared her yellowed, broken teeth in sick amusement. She tossed her cane aside her cane to a grunt who caught it deftly, to look down upon the psychologist and stocky teen with delight, her pouchy face distorted in wrinkled glee. Yes, boy, me.
And that's the end of the chapter.
What a twist.
That's actually I didn't really expect that. I mean, I knew she was involved with them, but I thought she was kind of
I thought it was former. I thought it was only because of Geo. Oh,
yeah,
no.
she was like, it's just been so long, I kind of assumed that she had just stayed there and that we'd get back to her eventually after they get
I
back
also
from
assumed KTX Replica forgot about Agatha. Just like, oh, she's not important anymore. So tune in next week to find out what the heck is going on with Agatha.
The interrogator.
We're gonna find out more, because Clockwork is coming up next week, so stay tuned for that. We might have camera, no promises. It depends on scheduling. Bless you. If you like the video, be sure to give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we have awesome new content coming out every week. And if you have a fic you'd like us to leave it down below. And
You think you'd like us to leave it down below.
leave it down below. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm sort of shocked, but I'm kind of covering up because, yeah, I want to, my shock will be in full force on Chapter 33. But yeah, join us next week for Chapter 33, possibly 34 if 33 is short, of Clockwork. And once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Bye!
Bye!